And what's up, everybody? Welcome to Fairway to Heaven right here on DSM Media. It's like a jinx. Now I think about what is the name every single week when we go live. We're live Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube. You know the drill. Like, retweet, share on all social media platforms. And do us a favor if you want to get involved in the show and you want to help us continue to grow the DSM Media YouTube page. Make sure you head over there, hit the like and subscribe on this video, whether you watch it now or later on replay, because we greatly appreciate it. I'm your host, Phil Stifle. You shoot me a follow at Beard and Knowledge. Joined as always by my main man, my brother in crime here, Jason Sullivan at JSully2121. Good morning, good evening. How you doing?
You're going so strong.
I had it all right, and then I had to mess it up somehow.
So I know you'll appreciate this. As the intro was playing, I was scrolling through Twitter a little bit, and I was watching a video of Kyle Schwarber getting tossed when he got tossed against the Brewers, and he was going.
That one. That was
great.
That was the That was actually the game that I think turned the Phillies season around unofficially. Yes, the firing of Joe Girardi did, but that was like kind of the moment when Kyle Schwarber took over as leader of the Phillies.
Well,
because no one else would stand up.
It lights a fire, for sure. It does. You see managers do that too. Not that has anything to do with golf, but I just thought you'd appreciate it.
Has literally zero to do with golf.
Got me all fired up though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, I set the over-under of 2.5 innings that I was going to watch of the All-Star game tonight, and I'm probably going to hit the under on that one for sure. It really does.
Exciting.
Yeah,
it's not nearly as exciting as Fairway to Heaven.
Yeah, no, Fairway to Heaven. That is the way to go. All right, so we got lots to talk about tonight. We got the 3M Open this week in Minnesota somewhere. I don't know, Twin Cities, TPC Twin Cities. But we got to recap last week's Open Championship. Hell of a Sunday from your guy right here, who called his shot and said Cam Smith will win with a 64 today. And Cam Smith goes out and shoots a 64 to win the Open Championship. So I'm just going to give myself a little self-high five right there for calling my shot right there on Sunday. What were your thoughts on the Open Championship last week? Because it was a hell of an event.
I think the first thing that pops in my mind is Rory. Just like the pain of losing that. You know, he's been so close so many times. And, you know, I think they said like he's been in like the 97th percentile of finishes for the last 8 majors, but he has 0 titles. That just sucks. Like, that really sucks. I feel for him a lot. I mean, to come out and be 2 strokes up and to go bogey free and still not win, that's brutal. But your boy Cam, I mean, he played lights out. He played literally perfect for that course. I mean, his around the green game, his putting was insane.
Outside of his Saturday, he played fantastic all weekend long. And that kind of a course, even though, you know, you could drive and you could bomb and gouge it, it's perfect for those mid hitters that know how to get the right trajectory, run out on the course and stuff like that. It definitely did a great. It was fantastic, and I'm just happy. I mean, no offense, I don't want to brag. This is not about bragging, because I do brag about my losses plenty. But 6 outrights on the air, Jason. Did you ever think there would be a time where I would have 6 outrights in one season?
No, and it's crazy too. You know, I was thinking about that the other day when you said that. And you put on Twitter like 6 outrights. You're not one of those people. You see some people will post their outrights and there's like they bet on like 20 people a week. Like you and I don't do that. Our outrights are like
4 or 5
bets, maybe 5 if depending on the week. Like I mean, so that makes it even more impressive to me. So kudos to you.
Hey, I'm very happy with myself this year. I've done good. Hey, and when you get the outright right and he's in 60% of your lineups, it turns a very profitable week
for sure.
You know, on the DraftKings side of it as well.
What's funny is I did the opposite. So I bet Cam Smith because I was going to fade him on DraftKings. Obviously, not the right play, but I mean, I still, won money.
He ended up not being as highly owned as expected. I think he was in the $1. What was he like 17%? I think he was.
I was going to say it was like 16 or 17.
16 or 17%. He didn't come in as much. Yeah, I wish I was getting paid for this shit. Absolutely wish I was getting paid for it. Look, I do want to touch on one other Cam Smith thing. Do you think it's a big deal that literally 30 seconds after he hoists that trophy, the rumors start swirling, $90 million he's leaving for the Live Tour? Honestly, I still don't care. I still don't think it matters, because I don't even think, even though he just won a major, finished second in the Masters, Cam Smith is not a big enough name to make a difference.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. Not
in America. Maybe overseas he's a big enough name, but here he's not a big enough name.
I think that's the biggest point. I think if you asked the casual golf fan, I mean, like, my dad watches golf. Like, he doesn't know who Cam Smith. Like, if he saw Cam Smith walking down the street, he wouldn't know. So, yeah, I completely agree with you. it's interesting. I kind of hate it because it's just like it overshadows the moment a little bit. Like it's
Mhm.
coming out every
Absolutely.
single week now. Whoever wins, oh, is Jordan going? Is so and so going? It's like it's just every week, and then there's still the rumors of Hideki's going and Ricky, but yet they're playing this week, so
Right.
it's weird. And not to mention, like to me, $90 for Cam Smith. I mean, $90, $90 million.
$90. That's it.
$90 is a steal.
Shit.
$90 million. I mean, like you're paying Phil $200 million, and you're paying Cam Smith 90. Cam's getting the short end of the stick, man.
Absolutely. I'll stick by it. I tweeted out the other day. When these news broke, unless it's Rory McIlroy, JT, Jordan Spieth, Scotty Scheffler, unless it's one of those top 5 or 6 names, it doesn't. Honestly, Cam Smith. I love Cam Smith, the golfer. I love his skill set. It's gonna be sad not to see him play every single week. But David Feherty leaving is almost a bigger name.
Yeah.
And he's just an announcer. You know what I mean? So Cam Smith still does not sway the stick for me, that much as that I have to worry about the Live Tour, hurting and affecting the PGA Tour.
I don't know if you saw the tweet that I retweeted the other day, but somebody brought up. Actually, I saw a few people bring this up, saying that it's almost like Liv is just doing it now to like be spiteful. Like Henrik Stenson is not even a good golfer anymore. But just the fact that messes up the Ryder Cup because he was the Ryder Cup captain. I mean, it seems like they're just doing it. Like they're just trying to be spiteful at this point. Yeah. And that's how it's coming across for sure.
Okay. So before we get into this week's 3M, I want to get into a little theory because, Jason's chiming in, who's a good bet this week. And we've got names. And as we cross off the list this week, we'll mention who we bet. But I want to touch on something here. And last week, about the time of the show, I was mentioning you. Did you jump on the Max Homa 80 or 90 to 1 bet? And then it instantly by Wednesday morning, it was down to 40 to 1.
40, yeah.
Yeah. I want to know, do you and Max Homa missed the cut. And I don't think, I know he missed the cut right on the number, but to me, he was never really in contention to even make the cut. He just barely hung on. Do you think sports bettors and line makers purposely find guys that they know that probably don't fit a course, but the golf bettors and the community like us love? Let's tweak that number, get everybody to jump all on this number. The money we're going to lose on Cam Smith or Rory winning, we make up instantly, because this happens a lot. Every week there's 1 or 2 names that everyone's like, holy crap, I can't believe X golfer is this far away. And we all jump on it every week. And we always lose that money.
I think to me, the thing that sticks out is Vegas knows what they're doing. Like these lines for football games, these bets for golf, it's like they're shockingly on the number. So that turned out to be a sucker bet last week, which so many people in the whole industry was talking about that last week.
Literally every one of us.
Yeah, and that was a sucker bet. It's just like, I don't know. I feel like Vegas remains undefeated. They might lose money here and there, but they're undefeated overall.
The way I started thinking about this a lot because I jumped all over it. Max Homa 80 to 1, of course. I almost feel like, because we talk about the odds sometimes when somebody's a certain odds, comparing them to their Draftkings price and stuff like that. And sometimes there's a thread there to talk about. But if you have a number like Max Homa last week, 80 to 1, that just doesn't make sense, just wait. And if that number is still 80 to 1 come the weekend, then maybe you or come the start of the event, maybe you bet it. But if they do it, then instantly drop it in 24 hours more, because it went 90 to 1, 80 to 1, 40 to 1. That was a massive change in the number. That change to me should have been a red flag to all of us and say, nah, let's get off of it right away.
Yeah.
Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it makes complete sense. And I was actually going to bring that up because there's a guy in the 7K range this week. I guess we can talk about it right now.
Yeah, bring it up. Yeah.
So I don't know how to say the name 100%, but Joo-Hung Kim.
Okay.
He's 7,300 this week on DraftKings.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that's a smash play, right? Mm-hmm. He's 28 to 1 to win this tournament.
Wow.
He's I think his odds are like the 8th highest odds to win the tournament, or lowest odds, I should say, to win the tournament.
And that's where you can use those odds and the lines to kind of, get a judge there. But, if it was the opposite way, if it was, he was 80 to 1, but he was 9,300, you can learn something.
Right.
But you kind of almost have to wait to see how it plays out. Yeah. I don't know. I really feel like Vegas and the line makers really got one over on all of us with that 80 to 90 to 1 on Max Homa when he was never in contention. And I should have known because he tweeted it out before the event. He tweeted out how excited he was to play with Tiger and the honor of playing at St. Andrews. You almost thought like he was just there to have a good time. And they suckered us all out right there on that one.
100%.
Right.
And he's one of the hot names too. So
yeah.
he was perfect debate. Everybody was on him. He'd been playing pretty well for the most part. He's likable. He's one of the best follows on Twitter.
Absolutely the best golfers on Twitter. Yeah.
Yeah. His tweet about what they're gonna what they were having. Did you see that when they were out? So him and his wife were out to dinner and they started talking to Justin Thomas's parents. Okay. And JT's dad said, "What are you guys having?" And Max said, "A boy," and his wife said, "Pasta." And he's like, "She's gonna be a great mom." That tweet was priceless.
He's fantastic.
Yeah, he's hilarious.
Honestly, our man BK and Max Homa have had quite a few, interactions on Twitter, and they're even better because BK will never shy away from saying anything.
He's not backing down.
He is not backing down at all. All right, so we got the 3M Open this week. We go from the Open Championship at St. Andrews to TPC Twin Cities in Minnesota. I don't know. It's going to, even in Minnesota, it is going to be hot as hell in Minnesota. It's hot in Detroit. It's hot as hell in Philly. My pool is green as shit right now because of the heat, and I can't get it under control.
It's like 96 in Detroit right now.
It's going to be 100 here on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's awful. But we've got a weaker field, obviously. Before we get into the field, what do we know about the Twin Cities, the TPC Twin Cities golf course?
I almost feel bad for them, first off, just because you're coming off of St. Andrews, which is probably the best, most well-known course in the world, maybe outside of Augusta National, and then you're coming to this course, which looks like a really nice course, right? It's just happens to be the week after. It's going to be a birdie fest, that first and foremost. It's a bomber's paradise, wide open fairways, big greens. I mean, you're going to see high scores this week, probably around 20. I mean, it looks like the weather's not going to come into play at all. You're looking at mild winds, warm temperatures, sunny skies, so it's not going to be much of a challenge for these guys. However, I will say this is like one of those tournaments where it's wide open. I feel like anybody can win this tournament. There's not like the favorites that you're like, oh, these guys set up so great, because even the higher priced guys don't have great history here. So it's going to be interesting this week. But yeah, it's going to be a birdie fest for sure.
It's going to be a birdie fest. There's a lot of see. We've been really refining our model making this season and how to do it, and trying to trim it down to less stats and really zone in. I almost I literally have, I think this week, more things in my model than ever before. I think I'm at 9 or 10 things in my model because I think so many things are important, and you want to get a little bit of everything. Driving distance, it's not the end all be all, but all off the tee and driving off the tee, tee to green, fairways gained, driving is all of them matter a little bit. So it's picking a couple of them, weighing them all a little bit instead of one more than the other. Tee to green, approach, all those things. I think there's so many ball striking statistics that are important this week. I kind of am taking the approach that I'm weighing a little bit of everything instead of 2 or 3 things massively this week.
Yeah, no, I think that's smart. Like you mentioned, ball striking. I mean, scrambling, you're going to need to scramble to win this tournament. Approach, obviously, is always important. Tee to green is always important.
Everybody's going to be hitting from 175. Their second shots. There's 3 par 5s. You're going to have to score on the par 5s. Par 4s, you're going to have to be able to score on. Like, literally, there's a little bit of everything. And I don't think I feel awful. Like, when I built my potential player pool here, I don't feel awful with the names I picked because they all – so by taking 10 categories instead of just 5, if all these names, if a name checks off 3 categories or 4 categories, that puts them. If you only have 4 to choose from and they check 2 boxes, it might not be enough. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of why I'm taking 100%. A different approach.
Pat Mayo was talking about that on his show. I listened to his show on Sundays that he gives out. It's like a strategy show, kind of like a breakdown of the course, like a research show. He was saying that too. He's like, in a field like this, you're not going to feel. It's not going to be like last week where you look at your lineup and you're like, wow, this lineup's stacked. Like, you're going to have some questionable names.
I got some questionable names.
If a guy is awesome at like 2 stats or 3 stats, like you said, I mean, that's how you win at this tournament. It's not going to be no one's going to pop out like a must play, I don't think.
Exactly. So first off, the names like the Tony Finau's, the Hidekis, the guys that played last week at St. Andrews, do you ever feel like it's one thing going from here over to there for a major, but the letdown and the come down off the high of a major at St. Andrews, does that worry you at all this week?
I would say a little bit, like for Finau, but I mean, Hideki and Sanjay didn't make the cut, so they're not worried about that.
There's not too many guys that played last week in the field.
Right, exactly. I don't know. This is like one of those weeks too where it's like you see the 10K guys, and nobody really sticks out. Like none of them have been that great. Like they all have okay history here, but none of them's in really good form. So I don't know. I'm personally fading the whole 10K because of that. Just because, yeah, it's the big names in the tournament, but I don't think it's the best plays here.
And then you're also, because there's so few big names, the ownership percentages for some. I don't even have a 10K range. I've grouped the 9 and the 10K range together into one group.
That's smart.
There's only 7 guys in the 9 to 10. You know what I mean? So there's so few guys, but all of them are going to be super high owned, super chalky. Like Finau's going to be close to 20, if not over 20%. Davis Riley's going to be probably close to 25%. There's some really, really, really chalky names in this range. Do you just you almost could give me? You can almost tell me don't play a single guy from 9K up. And I would almost be okay with that.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, you could easily start your lineup looking at like 88, 8900.
8800, Cameron Tringali.
Yeah, and Cam Davis. Like that's – I don't think those guys are any worse than Mav McNeely or Hadwin or Thagala or any of those guys. It's like – and you're right too. Some of these ownership numbers are insane. I mean, like you're looking at – I mean, Christopher Goddard, who is a good golfer. He's not great, but 29%. Like that's insane to me.
Literally, like he's a good golfer, but I had to think for a minute who he was.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I could tell you something. Yeah, I could tell you something about Tony Finau. I could tell you something about Davis Riley or Adam Hadwin. Got her up. I'm like, hold on, who is he again? Let me think. Okay, yeah, all right. Now I know who he is.
Yeah,
like it's not somebody you think about right off the top of your head.
Even like Svensson, 28%. Like that's insane.
It literally is insane. So how do you balance a lineup when you've got so many? You got a bunch of unknowns. And then you got a bunch of chalky guys. So the way I'm thinking, and I'm just going to tell you what I've got on my board right now. In the entire 9 to 10K range, I'm probably playing Adam Hadwin at 9,600. And I might play, because actually from last night when I built my model till this afternoon when I just refreshed it, Tony Finau has actually come down 1 or 2%. So I'm considering Tony Finau. He's got really good course history here. And if I can keep Davis Riley under 20%, which I don't think it'll happen, Riley might make my pool.
You know what he's at right now? Projected? Right now? 32.5%.
Dude, that's gone. It was 20.
Insane.
It was 20. Dude, earlier today I saw 20. I haven't updated my numbers. I should update my things here. 25%.
For a guy that kind of maybe peaked already. Like,
yeah, he may have. All right, so what are you going to do then with that 9 and 10K range? Where are you going to go?
I'm going to do something a little bit unique this week that I don't normally do. So basically, I'm locking in. Okay, I made 20 entries already. I'm not counting that, but I'm talking like for my 3 max and single entry, I'm locking in Mav McNeely and Cameron Tringali in every single lineup. I'll get different every lineup. Yeah, like I mean, Mav McNeely is 25%, Cameron Tringali is 19%. So they're both obviously super highly owned. I'll get different in the other 4 spots. I just want those guys in every lineup. So that's where I'm going at the top for sure. Right. Well, Davis Riley obviously jumped out too, but at 32%, that's crazy.
Well, Tony Finau is number 1 in my model, and I think he'll be number 1 in most people's models.
Mine too. Yeah.
You know, outside of driving distance, that's his worst stat this week. In his last 36 rounds compared to the field, he's 29th. Everything else is top 15. And 1, 2, 3, 5 of the stats in my model, he is number 1 in. So he makes sense. It's going to come down to ownership. Why Maverick McNeely, though? I want to know your thoughts on him, because he was somebody I put a question mark next to. I was thinking, like Tringali, I'm 110% on board. He might be number 1 or 2 most click guys for me this week.
Yeah.
But Mav McNeely, I'm not sure on. What convince me on Mav McNeely.
So really good form. T16 at the Scottish Open, T8 at John Deere, T16 here last year. So obviously he's comfortable at this course.
Yep.
4th in birdie or better, makes a ton of birdies. 4th in par 4 scoring. He's going to score on those holes too. I just feel like in a week that form is, I think, going to matter so much. And so many guys coming off of last week playing at the Open, and he wasn't one of them. So he played in Scotland 2 weeks ago, but he didn't play at the Open. So I just like the form, and I feel like this is the kind of event where he wins. He's gonna have to go low. I feel like that's his game. He's not a tough course guy. He's a birdie fest guy. So that's why I like Matt. Yeah,
the birdie fest part I do get for sure. Absolutely. Yeah. I was kind of surprised that outside from Tringali up on the price range, he was rated the worst in my model, Maverick McNeely. Wow. He was rated 25th in my model. So when you said him, it kind of jumped. When I'm playing somebody in the 9K or 10K range, I want them to be top 10, top 12 max in my model. He rated out really poorly in that 175 plus proximity. You know, and it's probably why he's middle of the pack in approach. So I kind of, got a little questionable with him there, but his form and all definitely fits this course for sure.
So besides Finau, do you have any interest in Hideki or Sanjay?
Hideki, no. Hideki just seems off to me mentally. Even going back to getting DQ'd for a chalk or paint or whatever it was on his, he's just not there. It's almost like he's struggling with that live thing. He probably really wants to go to the live tour for the money, and the live tour Japan probably wants him to go to the live tour. You know what I mean? It'd be good for that. You know, everybody will tune in. There's so much probably going on there. Sungjae Im, last year Sungjae Im was in like every single one of my player pools. I have not played Sungjae Im, I don't think, in 3 months. I don't know. He just doesn't seem to have the magic for somebody.
He had the consistency. Last year he was so consistent. Like his approach game and his short game were so good last year, I feel like. And this year it's just like you never know what you're gonna get. Especially at $10,000. You don't know what you're gonna get.
81st at the Open, miscut the Scottish, miscut the US Open, 10th at the Memorial.
Yeah.
50. So he had a little bit of a stretch and some bad stretches, some good stretches. Last year he was so much better last year. Yeah. So I'm off on them. I'm off on Tagala. I know he's a really good golfer in a really weak field. This is maybe a week for him to win. I just don't see it with him. I'm sticking to your Maverick McNeely is probably my Adam Hadwin this week.
Yeah, which I don't. I mean, I think he's had like a third and a sixth here, or a fourth and a sixth or something. Yeah. I can't blame that either. Tagala, on that note, I feel like he's like a tight course kind of guy. Like when the fairways are narrow and the scoring's not insane, that's when I want to play him. I don't want to play him in a birdie fest. So, yeah, I'm out on him, too, for sure this week. Davis Riley is interesting to me just because I feel like he sets up perfectly for this course, but he kind of hasn't been as good as he was for
he
that
may have
stretch.
Peaked. You may be right.
Yeah, he might have peaked. And at 32%, I don't really want to take that chance, to be honest.
Yeah, I can't see it ending up being 32%.
Fantasy Nationals, 25.
Yeah, Fantasy Nationals got him just under 25% right now. He was a little above. Now he's come down to a little bit below. And Tony Finau has just clicked under 20% the last time I refreshed. I like the 8K range, the low 8K range. Not that there's many names there either. And I'm all in on the 7K range. I'm literally probably – we always talk about leaving $400, $500, $600 on the table, not spending your full salary cap. I guarantee you this week, out of my 20 lineups, I guarantee 7 or 8 of my lineups will probably have $1,500 to $2,000 left on the table because I love that low end so much. And what was it? The last 3 years have all been 100 to 1 or higher odds type players winning this event. I think that's where you find you build a lineup with 6-7K guys, you might win a GPP by doing that. But it starts at the bottom of the 8K range. I love Brendan Steele, but he's going to be another guy that's going to be 20+%. But Martin, so Steele is 8,300. Martin Laird at 8,200 is less than half ownership on Fantasy National right now. It's like 19.9 to 8 point something. Let me bring it back up. I'm going from screen to screen here. 19.2 to
6.2. Yeah.
Who, Laird? Yeah. So Fantasy National's got him at 9.9 and Brendan Steele at 19.9 right now. Yeah. So
that's wild.
You know, I hate that pivot term, but Brendan Steele, Martin Laird, is there much of a difference between the two golfers in their ceiling to floor coming in this week? And I don't think there's much of a difference. So you go with the guy that's less owned.
And there are a lot of different golfers. Like Brendan Steele is a ball striking kind of guy. Laird's more of a short hitter, but Laird also does really good at short courses. So I don't think there's much of a difference at all. And I think getting that ownership, 6 to 8% ownership for Party Marty, that's awesome. Yeah. Martin Laird holds a special part in my heart too. Because the first time I ever won a significant chunk of money on DraftKings, I had Laird in my lineup and he tore it up. So I feel like I owe it to. It's like your uncle that you just need to have around for a while.
That's the worst reason to play somebody. Like 7 years ago, I won a lot of money, and he was one of the 6 names.
It was like 2015, whatever. Yeah. It's fine.
All right, so who else do you like in this 8K range here?
I have 3 that I love. Cam Davis, obviously, he's going to be super popular, but he's a birdie maker. We saw him win at Detroit last year, which is a very similar course comp this week. Tringali, obviously, and then Nick Hardy. I just feel like all 3 of those guys are going to be popular, so I'm not exactly unearthing anything spectacular, but I just feel like Hardy is just like a solid golfer. He's like an up-and-coming guy, and I feel like his overall game, this is the kind of tournament he can win. I don't think he's ready to win a big-time tournament like the Memorial or Bay Hill or anything like that, but I feel like this is the kind of tournament we can see Nick Hardy win. So those are my 3.
I love Nick Hardy. I left him off my list to see if you would pick him up. Cam Davis, Davis, I love Davis. I just at some point you're gonna have to cross somebody off of The chalk. You can't play every chalk guy. You can't have a 23-person player pool and 10 guys all 20%. You just will have no leverage there whatsoever. Davis, I got him at 17. Not Davis, Hardy at 17%. So it's weird because you got Steele at 20, Laird at 6 to 10, Hardy at 17. I'd feel more comfortable with Laird and Hardy in my pool than Steele and either of those two guys.
Yeah,
so
I agree with you.
My pool is going to be Tringali, Laird, and Hardy for sure in that 8K range.
You brought up a good point too. Like you got to get different somewhere. Like you can't play all these guys. So if you want to play the chalk guys above 8K, whatever, but you got to get different in the 7K then, which kind of brings you to the 7K where all the ownership's kind of going in the same spots. We kind of talked about it a little bit earlier, but like I mean, you're talking, Svensson, it's all going there. Goddard, it's going there. It's like it's all kind of going in the same areas too. So who do you like in the 7K to get different?
Well, the first name to get different, and I don't maybe FanShare has got different information. But Fantasy National's got him. Hold on, let me just double check everything here. Fantasy National's got him at 5.7%, and it blows my mind. He's the defending champion, Cam Champ.
Yeah.
I know he's not in perfect form, but he's played well.
I think he's missed 5 cuts in a row.
Yes, I know, but
he's not perfect. But
he's not perfect, but he has played well this year at times. Yeah, it's 5 cuts, but even in his missed cuts, what's important this week? Off the tee, maybe a little bit. He's gained strokes off the tee in 4 of those 5 missed cuts. He's gained strokes tee to green in 2 of the last 3 missed cuts he's had. On approach, 3 of the last 5 missed cuts, he's gained strokes. He's losing his strokes on the putting green and around the green, which to me won't be quite as important this week. So, Cam Champ, defending champion, get different, 5.5%. Give me some Cam Champ this week.
Yeah, I'm okay with that too, to be honest with you.
Am I insane?
No,
I don't know.
No. So I ran a model with the course comps in there, and he ranks number 1 off the tee. So, like, exactly what you said. Like, he's going to gain strokes off the tee over the field. I mean, we know he can't putt. Obviously, we know that. But, I mean, this might be a week where you just have to score a bunch, and that's the kind of tournament I feel like you want him in. I have one actually right above him that I like as kind of a pivot this week. Fancher has him at 7% right now. Ryan Palmer.
Okay.
I did my model on easy courses, and he ranked number 1 in the model.
Okay.
So he's 6 tee to green on easy courses, first birdie or better, and 3rd in par 5. T16 at the Scottish Open, didn't play the – I don't know if he played the Open or not, to be honest with you. I didn't see him there, no. But he's never played here, but I just feel like he's the kind of guy that, like, it wouldn't shock me if he contended this week. So I like Ryan Palmer as a pivot. Yeah,
I think that's a really good option there as well. Absolutely. Because, I mean, come on now. Goddard up. Are we really going to play Goddard up at 17, 20%?
I'm not.
You can't. And Adam Svensson has been my go-to guy this year in that 6%, the 6,800 kind of guy. They probably mispriced Adam Svensson this week at 7,600. That's why he's going to have that price, that ownership he did. If he was 8,500 this week or 8,800, he'd be 10, 12% probably.
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing. I was like, if he was 83, 85, somewhere around there, I feel like
I honestly, I'd be playing him.
Yeah.
If he was 10%.
He's in good form too. I mean, he lines up perfectly for this.
He was the second bet I made for this week outright. So I got Svensson at 40-1. I have no problem laying, that 40-1 bet.
I bet him too, 35, but I've got him at 35. But still, I'm still good with that.
Yeah, you can't though play him at that point. All right, I so the number 1 bet, the first bet I clicked, and when I saw the odds, I saw the field. I made the bet, and then I never do that. I never rush to make a bet. I made the bet and then went to see where he landed, and he landed 4th in my model. And that's Matt Neesmith. He was 55-1. He's 7,500. Let's see here. Right now, they got him at 12.5% on Fantasy National. He's missed the cut here twice, which is not good for the course history and all. But Matt Neesmith's a guy that's been playing great guy. I know he missed the cut at the Scottish Open, but before that, he had gone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of his last 9 tournaments. He made the cut, including a 3rd place, a couple top 20s mixed in there. I love Matt Neesmith in this week field. I think he's underpriced, and I can't believe his ownership is. I kind of feel like at 7,500, Matt Neesmith should be over 20% owned.
Yeah, no, I agree with you too. Wyndham Clark's another one too. I feel like I don't have to see what his ownership is right now, but I feel like he's probably going to come in under owned too, just for where he's at.
He's 9% on Fantasy National.
Yeah, 10% on FanShare. So yeah, I mean, like this is a guy he's coming in good form, and I mean he's been playing big tournaments. I mean, you've seen him overseas. You've seen him in the Scottish Open. You saw him. I mean, he didn't do well last week at the Open. He finished 76th, but 16th at the Scottish Open, 35th at the Travelers. Like, the guy can score. We know he can score. So I like him a lot.
I kind of feel like Clark's becoming a different. He's finally starting to. He used to be a guy you only played in the Barracuda Open, and even then you kind of questioned yourself. I kind of feel like maybe the tides are turning on him a little bit. I'm not trying to say he's going to contend at the Masters or anything like that, but you don't have to feel uncomfortable playing Clark in your lineup anymore.
No, I played him last week at the Open. Obviously, that didn't really work out, but I mean, he's a guy he's turned into a very solid golfer. Like he used to be just like a bomber that couldn't really do anything else. He's kind of turned into a more complete golfer. So I like that.
I agree with that a lot.
That Joo-Hung Kim play, I like him a lot this week too. And then a guy that nobody ever talks about that I don't know why I like him, and I don't even really 100% sure know how to say his name. Michael Gligic, whatever his name is, 7,000.
How do you say his name again? I just want to hear it again.
Gligic.
Yeah.
You might be right.
Yeah, so, I have no idea. I'm the worst with names.
But 10th place at the John Deere, and then
which can I cut you off for a second?
Yeah,
the John Deere. I'm looking at the guys that are in this field, and if they made the cut at the John Deere, similar course, but also similar type of field.
Birdie
Fest, weak field. If they did well there, I like them this week.
Well, and same thing with Barbasol last week. Him finishing T21. That's a very similar field. Obviously, it's a little bit worse, but I'm okay with that.
All right, I got a crap ton of names here. I'm just going to run them down. You stop me if any of these names jump out at you. Obviously, I got Cam Champ and Matt Neesmith off the board already. CT Pan, Merritt, Smotherman, Stuart Sink I actually like this week. Michael Thompson won this event a couple years ago. Tyler Duncan, Tom Hoagie, Pat Kaziri. Terrible lately, but he used to be our number one go-to in Birdie Fest. And hold on a second.
This is his kind of course for sure.
It is his type of course. And hold on a second here.
Grayson Sig is another one that I like too in that range.
He missed the cut to Barbasol, but he was 16th at the John Deere. So he's starting to come around. He missed a bunch of cuts, but there's a point in time where on this show, that's all we talked about was Pat Kaziri and Birdie Fest. Yep. So I like him. Nate Lashley, Taryn. They're the guys in this range that I like. There are a lot of names I know, but I feel like every one of those names checks something off. And Tom Hoagie's won this year. Lashley's contended in weaker fields. Duncan is contended in weaker fields. Thompson won here a couple of years ago. I don't know. Any of those names jump out at you?
A lot of them do, actually. I feel like you kind of just unintentionally brought up a good point, too. It's like that's might be where you get different, right? I mean, there's going to be so much of concentrated ownership in the same 6 or 7 guys.
None of those guys are 15. Like, I think CT Pan's at 12%, and Neesmith's like 14. Everybody else that I just named are all sub 10%.
That's where you're going to have to get different. I mean, even Doug Gim, another one, 4%.
I've seen a few people mention Gim.
Like, I'm good with that. Grayson Sig at 1.3%. I mean, Grayson Sig makes cuts. He doesn't win tournaments. He makes cuts. I mean, I don't hate that play at all. I mean, I think he's in pretty good form too. Yeah, Grayson Sig, I mean, T27 at the Barbasol, T16 at John Deere for a guy that makes cuts. Why are you laughing at that?
Because you're talking about low-owned guys in good form.
Yeah.
My number one – no, it's not my number one play this week.
I was going to say, whoa.
He's 0.8% projected ownership, okay? Finished 8th at the Barbasol. He's made 3 of his last 4 cuts. 1, Sean O'Hare at 6,800.
It's your guy.
I bet him 200, a half a unit, but I bet him at 200 to 1. Why
I thought
not?
you were going to say Justin Lauer, but you said
no.
You went with your boy.
Sean O'Hare.
Raise your hand if you bet Justin Lauer this week.
No.
So there you go.
Sean O'Hare was my super long shot bet right there. One of these times, Sean O'Hare, normally, like if I play Sean O'Hare, it's like I'll sprinkle in 2 or 3 clicks with him out of 20 plus. I might push it with Sean O'Hare this week. Sean O'Hare's going to make the cut
because that 3%, that 0.3% ownership, that's you pretty much.
This week, yeah, it's gonna be me.
That's you playing.
It's gonna be me playing
like 6 lineups or something.
But he's made 3 of his last 4 cuts, a top 10 last week. Why not? You got to get different this week. So I just to give you a little idea, I know we named a lot of names. I normally start with a 30 name-ish, 30, 35 names. I trim it down. I do 20, 22 lineups. I'll have 18 to 22 names in my player pool. I'm probably going to end up with 25 names in my player pool. I'm not going to click on one name 14 times and another name 13 times. The names at the bottom, I'm going to have a lot of names. A Sean O'Hare, a Taron, a Kaziri, a Tyler Duncan. They're all going to get like 3 clicks only, which means I'm going to have to throw a few more risky plays. So I'll pair a Adam Hadwin and a Cameron Tringali. They'll get a lot of clicks, and then I'll mix up the guys, not the same guys over and over again with them. It's kind of like the strategy that I'm going with in my head right now.
Yeah, no, I like that too. Lock and load who you want to.
I got a couple other names in the 6K range. I don't know if you've got any 6K name range, guys.
I got a couple, but you give me yours first.
All right, Bo Hogue, 117th in my model, but Bo Hogue I think is a play this week, and I forget why. I have to double check on why.
Bo Hogue does not grade out in my model, but
he's 107. How many guys are in this field? He's 117th in my model, but he's got
there's like 120 in this field.
He's 16th and 12th last 2 years here at this event. So Bo Hogue has great course history, and he finished 16th at the John Deere. He's only made one out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's only made one of his last 9 cuts. It was
this
the
is a
John
really
Deere.
great sales pitch.
Yeah,
this is really great.
Bo Hogue's going to get 2 clicks.
He makes no cuts. He doesn't grade out in my model, but
he's got a top 20 2 weeks ago, and he's got 2 top 20s in this event the last 2 years.
How about Austin Cook? 6,700.
I could get
T16,
behind Austin Cook.
T16 at the John Deere, T27 at Barbasol. A little better, right? Soshi Kadaira.
I don't even know how to say his name. I just say KOD.
Yeah. Kadaira. And then Dylan Wu, decent form.
Okay.
And then my boy Justin Lauer at 130-1. T8 last week at the Barbasol.
All right. I'm going to give you a really deep dive on one, but you got to give me a second because I don't have his stats memorized.
You forgot his name.
No, I know this guy's name because this is a guy that I thought like 12 years ago was going to break out on
Aaron
the PGA
Badley.
Tour. Yeah, Aaron Badley.
Is it really?
It really is.
Oh, my God.
I am playing Aaron Badley this week, okay?
You know my favorite thing about Aaron Badley is, not to interrupt you, but to interrupt you, is that he wears a plain white hat because he has no sponsor. It's the best part.
It's great. I love it. Look, dude, the last 2 years he played here, 51st and 23rd place, okay? He's also made the cut at the Barbasol and the John Deere, and he had 18th at the Valero. So 3 of his last 5 events he made the cut. He's got a 28th at Puerto Rico, a 36th, going back to that's already back to last year, the fortnight. But he's in good form for Aaron Badley. He's 6,300. He's going to be sub 1% owned. He's got good course history.
Cut maker.
He is good. Dude, you're telling me if I tell you a guy is 6,300, sub 1%, guaranteed cut make, aren't you happy with that?
Listen, guy's got a great head of hair. He's got no sponsors.
Better than me. I have no sponsors. I got no hair. So you know what? We're perfect for each other.
Yeah.
Aaron Badley making the
I can't
cut.
believe I guessed that. Of all the guys in the – I can't believe I guessed
Dude,
that. That's the
wasn't
best
there
part.
a time – am I wrong in thinking there was a time when he was supposed to be a hot up-and-comer on tour?
Yeah. No, he was. When I first started playing Draftkings, I used to play him all the time.
Yeah.
He was an awesome putter, awesome short game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really think there was a point in time where he was going to be not the next Tiger Woods, but he was going to be a guy that won some tournaments. I don't know if he ever did he ever win a tournament?
I have no idea.
Bringing up his player profile on Fantasy National right now. It will tell me within a few seconds here. Sort. He has won 1, 2, 3, 4 events on the PGA Tour. Man, it's been more than 10 years. He had 2 wins between 2000. He won his first event in 2006, the Verizon Heritage. Don't know what that is. And he won in 2007 the FBR Open. He won a Genesis in 2011, and he won the Barbasol in 2016. All right, I got to see this Genesis field that he won in 2011. First place, he won at 12 under. Vijay Singh was second. Kevin Na was third. Got Walker Moore, Robert Allenby. Freddie Couples was in the top 10 that week. Justin Rose was in the top 10. David Duvall was in the top 10.
This is going off the rails.
This is hilarious. I love it. I want to see what this Verizon Heritage in 2006 was. All right, in 2006, he won it at 15 under. Jim Furyk was 2. Vaughn Taylor, isn't he in my player pool this week? I think he is.
He's in my 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Brett Quigley. I don't even know. I barely remember Brett Quigley's name. Ernie Els was in this field. Ben Crane was in the top 15. Corey Pavin finished in the top 15. This is how long ago Aaron Badley was a good golfer. Aaron Badley is making.
But you should play him this week. Another great
telling you.
pitch.
I am telling you, Aaron Badley, Sean O'Hare, in your player pool. We'll compare our cashes next week. I'm telling you, Aaron Badley, Sean O'Hare, at least one of them is going to help me cash big this week.
Austin Cook, that's my guy.
You got to take a chance this week.
Yep.
You got a smaller field, top 65 in ties, so you're probably getting 60% of the guys are making the cut. You can take chances and not feel bad about your potential results at the end of the week.
Yeah, no, I agree.
That's kind of, my bets. I got 6 bets.
Okay.
7 bets actually, because we just said I only bet 4 times a week, and I got 7 this week. But see, because of all the long shots, I got 7 bets. But I normally have about 5 units to bet a week. I've only got 4 units bet because I've got a lot of smaller bets. So I only have 3 full outright bets. I got Steele, Svensson, and Neesmith, 35, 40, and 55. They're my full unit bets. But then I've got small, tiny bets on Duncan at 100 to 1, Hoagie 100 to 1, Lashley 100 to 1, and Sean O'Hare 200 to 1.
I like it.
And I'm going to look up Aaron Badley later. I'm not betting Aaron Badley.
If Aaron Badley wins this golf tournament, he will be on the show next week.
If Aaron Badley makes the cut this week, I'm going to look up what his odds are to make the cut. And I bet you he's probably 5 to 1 to make the cut. But I'm guaranteeing Aaron Badley's making the cut. So they're my bets this week. But a lot of smaller bets because you could bet a quarter or 50% of your unit at 100, 120 to 1 and still make a nice profit there.
Yeah, no, I like that. I have Cam Davis 25 to 1, Svensson at 35 to 1, Ryan Palmer at 40 to 1, and then my boy Justin Lauer, the winner, at 130 to 1.
Hey, what's it? I think it's been 125 or 130 to 1 the last 3 years, has it not been?
Dude, phenom.
I like it. I actually like the Ryan Palmer bet a lot. You've really convinced me to cross out the question mark next to his name. Like he was one of the guys with the question mark. I'm getting on the Ryan Palmer train this week, I think.
I like it. Do it.
Absolutely. All right. Anything else you got this week?
No.
We covered the Open. I'm still pumped. I hope I don't blow all my winnings this week on the freaking 3M Open. I will say, you say that you hold on. What did you say? A special place in your heart for who?
There's a few, but Marty Laird is one of them.
Yeah. Who he was in your first big win. The 3M Open was the first golf event I ever wrote about. Before we did the podcast, I was writing for a small site that doesn't even exist anymore, and sports shut down. And so I was trying to find things to write about. A couple of weeks into when golf restarted, one of the first events back was the 3M, and I wrote about the 3M Open. It was the first time I ever tried to write, and I tried digging up. The website went down, so I couldn't. It's been taken down, so I couldn't find.
So it's funny. I think that's how we connected originally. Like we connected. You wrote a golf article.
Yeah,
we talked to each other about something about golf, and then we became friends.
I'm pretty sure it was the 3M Open. The 3M, because after the stoppage of golf because of COVID, everybody played every event. So this wasn't like the hardest event to deal with. Anyway, that's all I got. So that's a special place in my heart, the 3M Open. So yeah, absolutely.
Big things this week.
Big things. We're gonna follow it up. How many outrights do you got on the air? Because I got 6. You got to do some catching up.
I think I have 4. I'm pretty sure I have 4.
All right. So we're gonna go Ryan Palmer because I don't want Lauer winning because that would just kill me. That would be awful. No, I'm going for 7. I'm going for my lucky number 7. So we both got Svensson. So let's hope Adam Svensson wins this week.
I'd be good with that.
I'd be very good with that. Another win this week. All right, we're going to wrap up Fairway to Heaven right there for the night and the week. If you guys got any questions, hit us both up on Twitter, @BeardOfKnowledge, @JSully2121. We'll answer any of your questions, any of your thoughts. If you're watching this video on replay, do me a favor, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button on YouTube. Greatly appreciate that. Keep that algorithm growing and gaining. And everybody have a great week. Let's continue to cash. And yeah, that's all I got. I can't play any sound effects because my soundboard was echoing too much. So we're just going to end it right there, just like that. Hey, Jason, have a good night, man. And I'll talk to you later, guys.